Hello and welcome to another episode of Spoil Your Appetite. I'm Tristan. Oh my gosh, I'm back. I'm back again. I'm sure all of you guys are just ecstatic about what I had to say about the Zack Snyder Justice League movie that came out. So, yeah. But in any event, as you can tell by the title, I'm not alone to talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier this week. Everybody, please welcome back Jonathan Barry.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
No problem. Yeah, so how was your week, my friend?
It's an interesting week. We have, I don't know, it's just, we're turning that final turn, entering the fourth quarter for school at least. And so just I'm like, looking at the final stretch.
Right, yeah. Okay. Cool. Are you excited that you get to take a 2-month break once school is about to be almost out from the looks of it?
Yeah. We got spring break coming up, and then we've got our 2 months, and I've already got all my plans done for the summer. So
Nice. Other than work, anything else you've been checking out lately?
Not really. So I don't remember exactly the date when Oscar nominations came out, but I've been checking a lot. I've got my list of movies I gotta watch before the show, so I've been knocking those out.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up, because honestly, same. Do you have that list on you by chance? Because
I do actually. Yeah, I've knocked 3 of them off already.
Okay, because I believe I only know 2 of those movies as far as Best Picture goes. I know that The Trial of Chicago 7 is nominated for Best Picture, as well as I believe is Sound of Metal.
Yes.
Okay, so
I have seen those too.
Okay, me and you both. Just go ahead and read out the Best Picture nominees if you would.
Well, I don't have that list specifically. I just got a list of different ones that I wanted to watch before the ceremony, and this is a mixture of all the Best Picture and some other ones.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right. I know Nomadland is actually nominated, and that reason why I bring that up is because of the director. What's her name? Chloe Chow, I believe, is also directing. Yeah. Coming up on the Eternals movie, so a lot of love getting from her for that. I believe Promising Young Woman was also nominated. And as far as the list goes,
Actually, I found the list.
Okay.
I do have it. So we got Sound of Metal, which we said we both seen. Then Mank, Minari,
right.
Promising Young Woman, The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Chicago 7, and Nomadland.
Now, Mank is on there.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that? I know it's on Netflix.
I will, but I haven't seen Citizen Kane, so I want to watch that first.
Gotcha. Oh, it's it's kind of like having to watch.
Making up, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like having to watch The Room and then watching The Disaster Artist next. It's kind of one of those things. For me personally, I watched 1/3 of Mank, and then I turned it off because I was like, okay, I know the story. I know that this is supposed to be how Citizen Kane got started and whatnot, and I don't know, I just wasn't really engaged with it. And, it kind of sucks because I think Gary Oldman's a great actor and all, but I don't know, it just wasn't for me, and so I don't think I'm going to go back and watch it, honestly, because I'm just I don't think I could bring myself to watch it because I'm not really invested of the Orson Welles character played by Gary Oldman in it, but that's just me. Now, as far as looking at the Best Actor category, I gotta admit, I think there's only one snub, and I feel like everybody that's seen this movie will agree with me with this, and that's Delroy Lindo and the
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and it's just like, look, I totally get why The Five Bloods wasn't nominated for Best Picture. I mean, I think it's a good movie, but I don't see it as a Best Picture kind of nominee movie. But to have not, what's it called? Have Delroy not nominated for Best Actor, is kind of wild to me. Because I'm just like, that guy's performance was just fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, I haven't finished The Five Bloods yet. I got about a quarter of the way through it, and it was like super late at night. So I'm going to finish it, hopefully today. But I just know that's on everyone's list of like that how he got snubbed. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's one specific scene where, it's just him in the woods, and he has this great monologue speech, and it's just like, man, and we all were kind of guessing, like, yeah, he's gonna get nominated, and whenever the Oscar comes, and they're gonna show that monologue speech, because it's crazy. It was a great monologue for sure. But yeah, I think, I'm gonna watch certain the Best Picture nominees. I mean, so The Trial of Chicago 7. What did you think about it overall?
So, well, that was the first one on the list that I watched. So, like, it kind of set my expectations for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought it was really good. I really liked it. I know Sacha Baron Cohen has gotten some like award attention for that film, and I honestly, this might be a controversial statement, but I typically don't like Eddie Redmayne. And I really did in this role. So that was surprising for me and enjoyable.
Yeah, my first introduction to Eddie Redmayne was, of course, The Theory of Everything, where he plays Stephen Hawking. And so that's where I generally know him from. I'm not I'm not really a fan of his performance, or really just the character in general in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, even though I've only seen the first one. I didn't bother to see the second one, honestly. But
right. Yeah, my introduction to him was Les Mis.
You know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, that was my first introduction to him as well. I totally forgot he's in that movie. I totally forgot. That's right. But yeah, The Trial of Chicago 7, I thought was a really very intense movie for sure, and just the way they went back and forth between the court and then seeing the actual events play out, as well as them trying to prove their innocence or whatever, and like, how are they gonna get out of this one, and what should they do and what not to do. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then so Sound of Metal. Now, I watched it, I think it was like last week or two, and I remember finishing it thinking, oh my god, I hope this movie gets some sort of nomination at the Oscars, and I'm happy to see that they got some love for it. Right.
Yeah, that movie. So my brother recommended that movie to me, and he never recommends anything.
Really?
And so he sent me a text, like, you have to watch this. I knew it was going to be something great. And it definitely was.
Yeah, and Riz Ahmed is nominated for Best Actor, and I personally hope he wins, but I could totally see the voters voting for Chadwick Boseman and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
I watched that last night.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
I was pleasantly surprised, because, there's this whole thing with Denzel Washington trying to get all of the August Wilson plays into a film adaptation. So the first one was Fences.
Right.
If you remember that a couple years ago. And I thought that was all right, but in comparison, I enjoyed this one way more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just the jazz aspect to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, because Chadwick Boseman is great in it. Viola Davis is. I found her character really funny. I don't think I was supposed to.
Right.
But I would watch it again, honestly.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, me too. I personally loved Viola Davis, and especially how Ma Rainey, the character, is basically commanding, just doing all these demands because, at the time with racial tension and all this stuff, and, because, jazz was becoming a big thing and whatnot, she wasn't just going to let, the studio step all over her or whatnot. And, I really thoroughly enjoyed that. And, it's just, but yeah, I could totally see Chadwick Boseman getting the win and whatnot, and I wouldn't default anybody for it because, I think he was great in it. He was really, really great in it. Like, outside of Black Panther, he is a great performer. Like, the fact that we lost him so early in his life is just terrible because he really was going to be just that great of an actor, honestly. So,
yeah. I remember watching 42. At that point, I didn't even know who he was.
Yes.
But, like, looking back at it now, I'm like, wow, like, he had such a future ahead of him.
Yeah. He was definitely one of the greats. And so, but personally for me, I hope, I want Riz Ahmed to win, but I feel like Chadwick's going to win it. But yeah, Sound of Metal, man. I just was so taken away by that movie because of the fact that, you want this guy to succeed and you want him to just be like, you're hoping he's going to settle to be, deaf and whatnot and just accept it, even though there's that itch where he wants to get the implants. And when he gets the implants, of course, it doesn't go the way he wants it to. And it just sucks. And I love the last shot of the movie where it just takes out the implants or the earphones and just going back to that conversation where when he goes to that community and that the head guy or whatever basically was like telling him basically, if you can sit still and just learn to be at peace or whatever, then yeah, it's like I love how that all came back towards the end of the film, and it was just great. I really loved it a lot.
Right. Yeah, I have a good bit of a bunch of friends that are in the deaf / hard of hearing community or are really passionate about that community, and it was just such a just so nice to see that community being represented in a positive light for a change,
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't be more excited that, I'm just glad it got nominated. I mean, regardless of who wins at the end of the day, I'm just glad Sound of Metal got something for sure. The
thing about like all these movies is that they kind of came out of nowhere just because of the fact that nobody was really paying attention this past year, like what releases were, or at least I wasn't.
Right.
And so half of these, like what? Almost all of these were streaming only.
Yes.
Yeah, so with all the blockbuster stuff out of the way, it really allowed all these movies that usually probably wouldn't be recognized to kind of come to the forefront.
Yeah, I specifically love the fact that, this year's Oscars is just incredible because it's all movies coming from streaming services, and I thoroughly enjoy that. I know that last year, if I remember correctly, I think one of the movies that wasn't played on the big screen or wasn't intended to be on the big screen was Martin Scorsese's The Irishman.
Right.
I think that was the only one, and I know there's like some sort of like something against the streaming service and their original movies being nominated, but it's like, at the end of the day, a story is a story, and it just feels like, why shouldn't, streaming service movies not be nominated for Best Picture and all that good jazz,
Right. I think the rule was that to be eligible, a movie has to be in theaters for 2 weeks.
Right.
And so it was either 2 weeks or 90 days. Those are very different, but it's one of those two.
Yeah, definitely.
And they lifted that for this year. Now, whether they'll take it away or not for next year, that's to be seen, I guess.
I really hope not. I feel like it should be anybody's game. Much like with, you look at the Emmys are just everywhere, I think the Emmys understood that at the very beginning when, like Netflix, when they were coming up on their shows or whatever. I think the Emmys just straight away was like, okay, it's a TV show. A TV show is a TV show. It should get nominated. And so I like that the Emmys are more open to the streaming service stuff, whereas compared with, the Academy is not so much. But I'm glad I hope it stays around. I really do, because I feel like that, it just makes it more harder to get nominated,
Right, yeah, and it's definitely, if they want to go back to it, like they say, how are you going to get the genie back inside the bottle? But with theaters reopening, I guess that means for next year we'll see a battle between the films that are released theatrically and the ones that are on streaming services only. Now, Warner Brothers has kind of got that covered because they're doing both. But.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, my local Regal isn't open, and I still haven't heard anything about them opening. And, I couldn't be more excited, because it does feel like this year they're going to open this year. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Especially after, this, I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week where I watched Kong Skull Island for the first time, and I just remember just being like, I cannot believe I missed this in the movie theater. Now, generally, I'm not big into. I like my movie monster movies, but I'm not like crazy for it. Like I've never watched the original Godzilla Japanese movies. My introduction to Godzilla was that Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie. So, but yeah, there is definitely one scene in Kong Skull Island that I was just losing my mind over. Like, I was literally in tears, and I shared it on my Instagram because I thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. And it's, for those who haven't seen Kong Skull Island, it's not really a spoiler, it's just a moment that happens. It's like, the second time in the movie, Kong Skull Island, when we see Godzilla, King Kong, not Godzilla. When we see King Kong, and he's wrecking all these ships because these helicopters, because, humans are fucking stupid, but, it's the moment where you see two guys running from Kong or whatever. One gets stomped on, which I love that they just straight up showed Kong stomping on people, or, slamming his hand on people or whatever. So one guy gets stomped on. The other guy runs to this base, I guess, and the other people look back and they see Kong and they run forward, but the guy just stands there, and then all of a sudden Kong sweeps him up and sends the dude flying, and the next shot you see where that dude goes and he lands on a helicopter. And I was just like, the fact that somebody approved this scene just I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in a movie, honestly. And it's like, man, I would have loved to seen that in a theater, because I would be laughing my head off like crazy, because that shit was funny. But yeah, I'm ready to go back to my local Regal theater for sure.
What's the last movie you saw in a theater?
Oh God, what was the last movie I saw in the theater? I mean, are we saying pre-COVID or whatever, or are we saying
like a new release? A new release.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, yeah, I think oh man, because I'm thinking about, because I remember last year they opened the theaters up for a little bit, for a time, and this was right before Tenet or whatever, and I went to go see Inception for its 10th anniversary last year, but oh God, I can't remember what came first. I can't remember.
Well, while you're thinking through it, I was very fortunate to see Tenet at a theater. Because there was a very, very small theater. I happened to be out of town. Yeah. And it was like a capacity of like 15 people per auditorium.
Oh, wow.
But like before that, it would have been Sonic.
Oh, really? Man, that's incredible. Wow, you know what? I've seen Tenet as well, but I can't remember if Tenet came after or before the New Mutants. I want to say
before.
Was it? Okay, so
yeah, Tenet came before.
Yeah, the last movie I saw then was the New Mutants, and I thought overall the New Mutants, and I've already talked about this movie, but I thought overall the movie was good. It was definitely, even though there were some things I wanted more of, and I felt like overall I thought it was solid, but all I gotta say is before they started to shut down the movies, the theaters or whatever, yeah, I would not been happy if my last movie, was Birds of Prey. I would have not been okay with that at all, because I was just because I don't know if you've seen Birds of Prey, but
no, I haven't, and I don't really intend to.
Okay, it's look, maybe if I watch it again, maybe I'll have different opinions, but it's just more of there's just something I don't understand about that movie. It's, for starters, for example, you could have easily made this movie PG-13. I didn't understand why it needed to be rated R. It's okay, cool, language and blood or whatever, but it's it wasn't as bad as people think it is or whatever. And also, it's just Harley Quinn, shooting cops with bags of glitter or whatever. It's just we're talking about Harley Quinn, right? And then, it's just, I don't know, it's just a hot mess of a movie, and I just felt I'm all for doing something new. I was looking forward to this too. I wasn't overly excited for it, but I was I'm looking forward to it because it's something new. Seeing new characters, a new iteration of these characters. I'm excited for it, but overall, I just felt it's colorful, and I love it for that. I love how the colors pop out and whatnot. And I think for what everybody's given, everybody's great. Even though characterizations, I kind of iffy on them, but yeah, I think overall I would have not been okay if Birds of Prey was the last thing I saw in the movie theater, honestly. So I'm glad the New Mutants was the last thing I saw.
Now, I feel like you might be able to answer this question. I've had this question for a long time. Is Birds of Prey in the same timeline as the Suicide Squad, the first one?
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay.
It's because it takes place who knows how long after the first Suicide Squad movie, and also add in the factor that it's Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, so it's connected.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, the Suicide Squad will be a different timeline entirely. That's to be determined, I guess, because James Gunn doesn't really talk about it that much.
But
he'll be in two different timelines as Harley Quinn.
Well, he was asked about that, actually. He was actually asked, somebody asked him on Twitter, do I need to see the first Suicide Squad movie to watch this one? And he said no. And so, my understanding is, it's, I imagine it's basically what you're saying is, it's a sequel, at the same time, it's a soft reboot, because they're bringing in, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, which, thank God. And then they're bringing in Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, and then, of course, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. So it's it's a requel, reboot.
Well, and what? Sequel. It's what's his name? Jai Courtney's back, right?
Yes, he's back too. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I'm stupidly excited to see the Suicide Squad. Now that Zack Snyder's Justice League is out of the way, I am stupidly excited for the Suicide Squad, because that's really, as far as DC movies goes, that's my favorite one. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. But yeah. And then, of course, this past week, I basically, depending on when this episode comes out, honestly, this past week, as you saw on my Instagram, Jonathan, I did the whole Zack Snyder DC trilogy, basically.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you my thoughts about it, so I'll just say rewatching Man of Steel. The only thing I took away from it, honestly, was just like, yeah, okay, the destruction of Metropolis is a bit much. It's a bit much, but man, rewatching that, it's just like, you take out the comic book element out of it, it's a great sci-fi movie. Like, it's really a great sci-fi movie, honestly. And more so than ever, rewatching it all these years later, I'm like, damn, whoever had the idea to have Michael Shannon as Zod, just perfection. Especially with the script he was given, perfection, honestly. But yeah, overall, my thoughts on Man of Steel didn't change. As well as Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, didn't change either. And I was just like, yeah, this movie still is a bummer, and there are things I like, and then there are things I don't like. And then, of course, the Justice League, Zack Snyder, came out, and, it's enjoyable, minus my criticisms, and it's definitely better than Batman v Superman. So, there's that. Just thought I let you know on that, but yeah.
It marvels me, pardon my pun there, but how Joss Whedon can make one side of the superhero debacle like so great with Avengers in 2012, and then how he supposedly, I don't follow DC as closely as you do, but how much he tore apart Justice League 2017.
Well, I'll educate you and everybody else that doesn't know the full story behind it. So what had happened was Zack Snyder stepped away because of a family tragedy, and so they brought in Joss Whedon. And from my understanding, especially watching Zack Snyder's Justice League again, it's very clear that Warner Brothers did not give Joss Whedon enough time to, I guess, give him the creative control or whatever. He was just basically there just to fill in for some jokes. Like, a lot of stuff, look, Zack Snyder's Justice League is very much the same movie we got in the 2017 version. Joss Whedon was in a no-win situation, so he put stuff in whatever the studio wanted, and man, I'll just say this, I don't blame Joss Whedon, I don't blame him. I mean, yeah, there's, stories about how, he's not such a nice guy, but it's and as far as, the work environment goes or whatever, as far as what he was given to do, and the fact that they didn't push the release date,
That's fair.
It's crazy. I don't blame him from that movie at all, because, because to me, it's look, at the end of the day, I feel like when it comes to movie making, it's, it's a collaboration between the filmmaker and the studio. Granted, I do feel like, 30% of the time, or at least 20% of the time, that's 80% of the time, filmmakers should have 80% of doing the movie however they want to do, while the studio is 20% because, they're financing the movie. And so, but yeah, I will also say, for those that haven't seen Zack Snyder's Justice League and have seen that first version, again, it's very much the same movie, but it's, again, the stuff that was reshot or whatever, and the things that, how certain scenes play out differently is crazy to me. It was so, especially when you get to the third act, and, there's one massive thing they changed, and it involves with one character, and it's not, what you heard about whenever Zack Snyder was explaining about these behind the scenes. It's no, there is one moment, there's a moment, and it's a big fucking moment too, because it plays to what's going on in that last act or whatever, and it was you guys cut this out because that was important. That was really important. It very much felt all stakes are all on a high right now. Like, it was just insane to me. I'm like, I cannot believe you cut this out, because it's like, that felt like, holy hell, like, you know, that was worth it all, honestly. And yeah, again, just to see this cut and see how certain scenes play out differently, it's just like, it works so much better. I mean, and you know, honestly, everything that because of course Zack Snyder said he wasn't going to use anything that he didn't shoot, and not once did I miss anything from those reshoots or whatever. Like, there was really nothing in there that I didn't miss. Like, everything that I liked about that first cut was all Snyder's cut or whatever. It was great. Like, and so overall, I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it a lot. I don't know if I'll rewatch it again, because I'm like, yeah, there are certain things that I don't like, but it's not like on the same level. It's not the kind of problems that I have with Batman v Superman or whatever. It's just like, you know, just a few scenes could be taken out, and then some certain scenes can be trimmed up or whatever. And that's how I felt about it overall. But yeah, it was a good day. I'll tell you that much. It was a very much a fun day. I mean, I was prepared. Like, I was so excited to rewatch all of them, even though with Batman v Superman, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this again, or, you know, maybe I might like it around, but I don't know. But yeah, anywho.
Well, that seems like a really good segue, actually, because we were talking on yesterday about the Captain America trilogy.
Yes.
And how, like, and I kind of want to rewatch just those in order and see that evolution of the character for Captain America. We've been talking about DC, so maybe we can switch over to Marvel now.
You know what? And that, you are right. It's time to talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the premiere first episode. Yeah, I mean, look, for me personally, I've always said, as far as MCU characters go, Captain America, Steve Rogers was always my favorite. And so, of course, this was the one I was looking forward to the most. So, what did I think about the first episode? Dude, I could not have loved it anymore. Jonathan, what would I mean, how did you feel about it overall, the first episode?
I think, like, just I think it was a really good exposition, and just to, like, let everyone know, hey, this is kind of the tone of what this is going to be in comparison to, like, what you've already seen. Because we were saying yesterday, like, how WandaVision was just so, like, at the end of every episode, they had always some sort of clue, or everyone was always making theories, and this one isn't going to be as, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it really did a good job at, like, setting up what to expect, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. I think the major difference is, you know, with WandaVision, it was a mystery. Like, why are we seeing some sort of, you know, sitcom with Wanda and Vision? Whereas compared to this first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's very much MCU. You know, it's very much MCU. We're in that cinematic universe. There's no mystery to it. It's just, we're in the MCU.
It was kind of interesting, because as soon as the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as soon as I turned it on, first thing I noticed was the aspect ratio. And that we were in the MCU, I'm not sure the official industry term, but like, we were in that action black bars, like they did were episode 4 of WandaVision, because I was so used to seeing that, like, that square from episode 1 of WandaVision. But I'm kind of glad we're back into the action of Marvel.
Yeah, I really love this episode, and I'm sure this is what you loved about this episode was, you know, how much it focused on Sam and Bucky just, you know, living life, you know, not suited up. You know, we got an action, you know, the opening was very much Sam Wilson taking on, trying to capture this guy, bring him back.
Do we need to give a spoiler warning?
Well, I mean, spoil is in the title of this podcast, so
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been listening to the podcast, we're going to talk spoilers. So, I mean, plus, by the time this comes out, if you haven't seen it, then that's on you. That's on you.
Why are you listening if you haven't seen it?
Right, exactly. I mean, but yeah, getting back to, seeing Sam Wilson just, on this mission and just seeing, that big spectacle, which, it's a very exciting, chase sequence. But yeah, just seeing, what does it look like when our heroes are not suited up? What kind of personal lives are they going through, I mean,
I thought it was. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, take it.
I was just gonna say, yesterday I would have given a different answer, but today, rethinking about it, I'm really glad that in this first episode they're not together.
Yeah, I
mean, it's called Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but in the first episode they are not with each other, and I think that's really good as a really good choice and for grounding your character. So we know who these people are before they go into that buddy cop type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I love seeing Sam with his family and, seeing his side of family. And he's from Louisiana, and I love that. And, and trying to get a loan from the bank so that they can keep the boat, for, because it's their legacy. It's, it's family's boat, basically. They grew up on that boat, but at the same time, Sam's sister makes a good point of she's got her own business and she can't keep spending money on something that's needs majorly repaired or whatever. It's just it's not this it's the end all be all kind of deal. It's no, this is personal family stuff.
Yeah, and then that leads straight into the humbling of when they go and try to get that loan, and Sam is so convinced that his fame is going to ensure that the family will be okay, and it doesn't.
Right.
And kind of causing Sam to get a little bit humbled by there's a whole world out here aside from my my space adventures.
Right, exactly. And I love the fact that it's so the Avengers do get paid. That's pretty amazing.
That's never a question that I had, but I'm glad they addressed it.
Right, and I love that the shows can pose those questions to the audience, because we don't think about that kind of stuff. We don't really think about that stuff, and get into Bucky's side of the story. I mean, the fact that he's suffering with PTSD, and I love we're gonna explore some aspect of the turmoil that came with him being brainwashed to be the Winter Soldier. I loved that aspect a lot, and I loved the whole therapy session. I thought that was great, and it also answers that question of okay, Bucky. So after the 5 years that everybody was gone, and the Avengers saved the day, everybody was pardoned for whatever they did, after, saving the day. Everybody was pardoned for their crimes that they committed, whether it was the Sokovia Accords or whether, with Bucky basically being the Winter Soldier for so many years, there was pardons. And I'm glad it answered that question, even though I never had in my mind of so Bucky gets to roam around free after the shit he's caused or whatever. And so I thought that was pretty great to hear that, So, but yeah, everybody's great in it. I think for me, I loved every aspect. I love how personal and focused it was on just the personal lives with them. And I also got excited when well, first of all, the opening of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first time we see when it opens, we see Sam Wilson suiting up in some sort of suit, and he's got that Captain America shield, and it's like, if there was a small part of me was like, are we about to go to Cap's funeral? Are we about to go to his funeral? That's
exactly what I had in my mind. Like, well, and I thought that would have been a good start.
Yeah.
Like, just like, oh, here you go. But, yeah, that's not what happened at all.
And I think my favorite scene is probably the moment where Sam gives up the shield and gives it back to the government, because, I mean, that line of just like, when Steve in Endgame asks him, how does it feel? And Sam replies, feels like it belongs to someone else. And just sort of that idea of, in Sam's head, it's like, for him, it's like, he doesn't feel like he's worthy and can live up to the name Captain America the way that Steve Rogers did. And so I really like that, you could tell Sam was just, he misses Steve, and he just feels like it's overwhelming for him. He doesn't really.
Right. Yeah. When you think about it, he's lost both Steve and Natasha.
Right
now.
Yeah. Exactly. Especially after the events of Civil War and how that whole time period they were just on the run, and I mean. It was just great, and I love the fact that we got to see Don Cheadle as James Rhodey. Like, I was not prepared for that, but I just, again, it's going back to that whole thing why I love the MCU of just like bringing in these characters that we've seen in other movies and have it all be connected. And I love that James Rhodey was there at honoring whatever sort of monument they were doing for Steve Rogers. I love that a lot, and just that whole conversation they have. And there's one shot that I fucking love in this first episode, and it's that shot where it's James and Rhodey looking at the very first costume that Steve Rogers put on in the first Avenger movie. I love that. And, James goes, "It's a different day, brother." And it's just like, oh, dude, I could watch these two all day.
Are you saying I could do this all day?
Basically, yes. Thank you. Like, that's it. That's the line. I'm done. Mic drop.
You're with him till the end of the line.
Oh, dude. See, that line in The Winter Soldier really, really hit me hard when, Bucky's pounding on Steve or whatever, and he's just like, go ahead, do it. Because at the end of the day, I'm still with you to the end of the line. It's just like, oh, God, fuck. But in any event, let's talk about the real gut punch of this episode.
If I may, the scene you're talking about with Rhodey, it just came to me like Rhodey is the only other person in the MCU that I can think of that is going through a similar situation, or just recently did because of Tony. And so, what a perfect pair to have that moment. That is
so true. I totally forgot about that. And we know he's getting his own series too with Armor Wars, and so I would love to see that play into Armor Wars as well. And you're so right about that. I totally even didn't connect the dots. They're both hurting, because they knew them so personally, and oh my God, now let's talk about Bucky, the Winter Soldier, if we will. As we were texting yesterday, why don't you tell the audience what you said to me about Bucky, like what you took away from it about, Bucky getting out there,
Oh, if I recall, I just said that seeing Bucky's dating life was something I never knew that I needed.
Right. Yeah. And because he's got to make friends, because lately he's just been trying to make amends with people that did him wrong, which is kind of messed up. The rules that he has to go through.
Well, the rules that he's supposed to be following, he's not following them. That's the thing.
He's, he's like, fine-tuning
Except for Rule
them.
3. He is following Rule 3. I'll give him that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah. But the character, his name is Yuri, the old man in this episode.
I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure.
Okay. So, here we see Bucky with this character named Yuri, and they're going to go on lunch. Now, I'm sure like many, I initially thought, oh, it's a World War II buddy of sorts and whatnot. And, yeah, I don't know what to say other than, because I had totally forgot about, the quote-unquote nightmare that Bucky had where he was the Winter Soldier. Because I'll be honest, when it first happened, when we first saw Bucky as the Winter Soldier, I was like, oh, shit, so he went back to being the Winter Soldier. But then no, it's a dream, and, he's on a mission, kills his main objective, and then, of course, doesn't leave any witnesses by killing a certain someone. And, yeah, like...
Well, so, yeah, I recognized that it was a flashback, but what I thought was going to happen was that he corners this guy who, like, you spend, like, a good, like, 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning of the, all the Bucky stuff, like, meeting this guy and talking about how he has, like, to go prepare for a test or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he's encountered. I thought for sure that Bucky was just going to, like, give him mercy and, like, not kill him. And then it was going to turn into, like, an Aldrich Killian type thing from Iron Man 3. Like, he's going to come back, but...
Right.
No, that's not what happened.
No, not at all. And, what's basically revealed, the gut punch of this episode is that guy that we see the Winter Soldier kill was this man's son that Bucky hangs out with or whatever. And... man, I was so not prepared for it. And it's like, again, going back to seeing, what Bucky has to go through for now on and the turmoil that comes with being the Winter Soldier. Basically, just, do you think later on in the show we're going to see Bucky admit to him that he's the one that killed his son?
I don't think that Bucky will do it voluntarily. Mm-hmm. I think that it will come out in some way. Right, and like you were saying, the emotional aspect to all this is that the whole episode, this old man that he hangs out with just is always talking about his son, and it comes up when he's looking at one of the foods that they're eating. It's like, oh, that was my son's favorite food. So you hear about this son the whole time, and you're like, well, I don't know why this is important. And that's when, like, the last shot is like you see this kid in a picture frame in his apartment. It's like, oh, it's all connected.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's just, I don't even know if it was intentional to have, Bucky hang out with an old guy or whatever, and I imagine someone on set was like, what they were basically spelling it out to us, basically. But I think consciously, somebody on there was like, people are going to be very confused about this. And so it's just like, just, you don't see that coming. And so, no. But yeah, this first episode, man, I'm ready. Like, I'm so ready. Like, it definitely gave me Winter Soldier vibes, Captain America Winter Soldier vibes for sure, because it's just like seeing the personal lives of, Sam and Bucky, but more focused on that aspect. And so I it's off to a great start, I must admit.
I got a question to pose to you. I don't know, this just kind of came to me, but you know how in Civil War, Steve is has that apartment that's right next to Sharon Carter's?
Yes.
Do you think that Bucky is in that same building?
Ooh.
because we know he's in an apartment now. They haven't introduced Sharon Carter yet, but I wonder if he took Steve's old apartment.
That's a good question because oh man, that's a good question because I don't know where Captain America: Civil War mainly takes place. New York, right? Or
yeah.
Okay. Or is it Washington? I can't remember. I mean, that would be nice...
At that point in the movie, because that's sort of the beginning, that's right before the funeral, I believe, when you see all that.
Right. I mean, it definitely would be a nice little Easter egg and whatnot. I think that would be very interesting if that was the case. I mean... But,
right, I'm just thinking of like how they're going to introduce Sharon Carter into all this, because as far as we know, she just kind of, after Civil War, there was no reason for her to get back involved.
Right, yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm interested to see that. Maybe Sharon Carter is the character that brings Sam and Bucky together.
Right.
And to go forward to handle the whole Flag Smashers group or whatever. Which, you know, it's, you know, the guy that has obviously the super strength, it's obviously a super soldier for sure. I mean, my theory right now, you know, as to why is there another super soldier running around, there's a good case possibly because it's obvious that Baron Zemo is behind the Flag Smashers for sure. I mean, who else would it be, you know? I'll be shocked if it isn't.
We've known that for who knows how long. They've had that announced, that Daniel Bruhl is returning. And I love that actor. I've seen him in a lot of other things.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm so glad that he's coming back.
Definitely, for sure. I mean, he was great in Civil War, even though, you know, you can make a case that you didn't really need that character in general. But, you know, he was great in it. For what he was given, he was great. And, you know, but yeah, my theory is that...
Do you recognize that actor from anything else? I'm just kind of curious, like, what people know him.
I think the first thing I ever saw him in was in Glorious Bastards.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
I mean, he's wonderful. I mean, he's a great actor. But yeah, my theory is, you know, who's to say that Zemo was telling the truth about killing all the super soldiers or whatever, you know? Maybe he killed all of them except for one for his personal gain. Or maybe, just maybe, maybe it's a rogue Winter Soldier or whatever. Maybe it's a rogue Winter Soldier and, you know, somehow Baron Zemo comes across him or whatever and all that fun jazz. Like, maybe that's a good play. Or, you know, and this is kind of stretching, but maybe somebody figured out how to make the super soldier serum, you know.
Right, yeah. What if, like, the doctor from the first movie and from Winter Soldier, like, what if they just retconned him and he's back anyway, no matter...
I mean, his mind is on, like, old, like, what's it called? Old hardware or whatever.
Yeah, and they blew up the facility, but, like, what if they just brought him back?
True. That's true. I mean, there's got to be another copy somewhere. I imagine there's another copy somewhere. But yeah, those are basically my guesses. But I'm definitely looking forward to I think it's only 6 episodes in total for the show. Right. So and I also love that these are longer. So, and
yeah, I think that'll add to it and help people like kind of deal with the weights like that. It's longer episodes, and like because we've seen a timeline of how these shows just in general are being released, and like they've already. I don't know if you've seen like the Loki poster just got dropped because that's going to come like right after this ends.
Yep.
So they just got it coming.
Yeah, they really do. I thoroughly like that Loki poster for sure. It just speaks to the character himself and how he looks. I like that poster a lot. But yeah, a great solid first episode for Falcon the Winter Soldier, and I can't wait to see more, honestly. Just bring all the good shit, I'm ready for it.
One other thing that I was kind of interested in what you thought about this. In the canyon scene with Falcon in the beginning, it was interesting to me. Like I already said, the aspect ratio, but I don't know. It was really evident to me that it was CG, if that makes sense, because WandaVision was all practical for the most part, and so I don't know. That kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, oh yeah, most of what they do is digital, and so. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, there's definitely a major difference, because again, with WandaVision, it's playing on that, parody of these sitcoms. And so, yeah, and like I was saying, the fact that, this jumps right into what we've always seen with MCU stuff. It always usually starts off with the action sequence. And so, yeah, it didn't really throw me off all that much because I was just like, because of the whole marketing, it's like I know what I'm getting myself into, and so
right. Yeah, it is kind of. I wouldn't say shocked me, but as soon as it started, I'm like, oh, this is fake.
Right. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Of course it is. But
yeah, I think I'm just more shocked at again, it's the first episode. And I'm just shocked that this is a TV show, It's
sure.
just, it's so bizarre, and it's like, but then again, we shouldn't be too shocked by this because, you look at shows like anything that HBO does or Showtime or Stars or any of those people, what they do, those high quality shows or whatever,
Right, yeah.
But maybe it's just because of the fact that this is the MCU and it's coming to TV. Like, it's so bizarre. In a great way, honestly. But, so, overall, great episode. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Kids, we don't have anything else for the rest of the show, but we're not done here. Because I know last time I had this fine gentleman on this podcast, we were just gushing over WandaVision. And, so I just thought, this episode is mainly going to be dedicated to our special guest here today. Now, I met Jonathan, of course, through theater. Now, it's so interesting, and it's just like, okay, I've been waiting to do this for a long time, and, it's always like, when I have somebody on, I like to, let the audience know who I have on here, who he is, and as a person. So, where did it start with you when it came to theater? When it came to joining the high school theater? Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we, I don't know how specific you've been with your audience, but yeah, we met in 9th grade. Yeah. So I've been involved with theater stuff since I was 8, doing like community productions and stuff. But it really wasn't until until 9th grade really that I was actively pursuing first it started with acting, trying to pursue acting, and then by the end of high school that kind of transitioned into directing and screenwriting, because I think we talked about it, but you were in a play that I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done plays together. We were in the same class for 9th grade. I don't know if we were in the same theater class in the next grade, but 9th grade specifically was definitely a great introduction to theater for sure. And
well, yeah, that was the name of the class, Introduction to Theater.
Basically, yeah, that's what it was. And so it was just learning the basics of theater in general, and it was a lot of fun. Now, the first time we got into the winter play, we did A Christmas Carol. I mean, I just got to know.
I forgot you were in that too. Oh, dang.
Yeah, I mean, because you had a significant role That's for sure. Compared to my role. That's for sure. I mean, so for you personally, you tell them who you played in A Christmas Carol, and how did you feel about getting that role with that many lines?
So I played the version of Scrooge that's like in the past, but not like kid Scrooge, but like young adult Scrooge when he's like working at Fezziwig's whatever business that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember there being that many lines, but I mean it was definitely like welcoming. Like I felt very honored to get that role, especially like as a freshman. I remember actually in our theater class, our teacher had me and one other kid stand back to back to see who was taller, because the taller person would get the role. And I inched him out, like literally by like half an inch, actually.
Really?
So I was able to squeeze that.
Really? That was the
What?
defining moment?
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't remember this at all. Like, this is news to me. Like,
I think it must have been the night of auditions or callbacks then.
Oh,
when
okay.
I just remember standing back to back with this kid who I still am in touch with them at sometimes, but
I didn't even know that there was callbacks. Like, I just thought, because for me the audition was just like, you read a certain I think you can make your own, like, pick a monologue and just read the monologue.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes. You could pick your own from a actual play, or you could do a cold read. So for those who don't know, there's a part of the script from the show you're going to be in already picked out, and you just read it like you think you should, and it's judged entirely off of that.
Right. Yeah, but I didn't know you got like callbacks to, re-audition basically, or
yeah, so like essentially what that entails is that everyone that the director thinks could be that role comes back, and you don't do another monologue. That always usually is a cold read,
right?
And then it's kind of picked from there. Of course, you don't know until the list is put up who got what, but
yeah. So how did you feel when you first got your the role? Like, what was that like? I mean, have you ever been, well, you just say you were in community theaters, so this was like,
but this was definitely the biggest thing I had been in.
Okay.
I had never been like done like big speaking roles before. I mean, like my first show I did when I was 8, I was in Charlotte's Web, and it was a bunch of elementary schoolers like me, and that was its own thing. But yeah, this was the first substantial thing, and I remember being so ecstatic. Like, I'm in a play, like I can actually do this. So like that's kind of what started it for me, like to think that could be a possible career path, which 9th grade might be a little bit too early to think about that, but I had already started seriously considering what I wanted to do in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you knew this, but like I ended up majoring in theater in college. Right. But at that point I had kind of turned away from acting and started towards the directing path. Although I was also, and maybe it's just a beginner's luck type thing, but I was also cast in the first show of my college career. My freshman year of college, there was a student-directed show in August that I got casted in a cast of 6. So that was also really cool.
Right on. So we do that. We're in the play, and man, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I always liked acting. I always thought, the passion I had for acting wasn't as big. But you could tell, I mean, my mom can atone to this, but, I was a kid that knew how to basically film videos or whatever. And I believe it was specifically in 9th grade where everybody just looked towards me when it came to, I think there was one section of learning how to do video or whatever. And I was like, I got this in the bag. I've been doing this since I was since I was 13 or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
that's starting to sound familiar now. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was just kind of looking for me for guidance. And it's like, when you're at that age, you only know so much compared to all the other advancements that come into play of making like said short films or whatever. And so it's like, setting up it. Basically, I was the person to go to when it comes to like setting up a shot or whatever, because for me, I love still shots of movies. Like those really stick out to me. And so
did you end up kind of like pursuing the techie route then?
I haven't. I just never I like to film stuff, and then I've never made a short film. Like I'm never involved with graphics or CGI or whatever. I mean, when I was doing these videos, I also had another YouTube channel that it was me and my neighbor who I grew up with for, since second grade up until high school or whatever. When I started doing videos or whatever, he was the guy that would do like CGI fire or whatever and all this stuff. So I would always set up the shot just being, directing whatever. And then I would give it to my friend to do the tech side of stuff. Now, as far as tech goes, I was never really occurred to me because it just seemed kind of stressful to me. I was more into the writing and the directing,
Sure.
But yeah, let's the winter play. I mean, God, the great thing about those plays, and it was very well known that whenever they did a play at our high school, somebody would throw an after party. And
oh boy, yeah.
And those were fun. The first time I ever did something like that, it was just like, it was so bizarre because it was just so strange because, when you look at movies or whatever, it's always about the football game parties and all that stuff. And there is, but, the idea that there was, at least for our high school, when it comes to theater, somebody would host some sort of like party after the play or whatever was just interesting, and it was a lot of fun too. And
right, yeah. I remember they were always so the unspoken rule about those parties was that the lead character was supposed to host it.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew that, but that was the unspoken rule.
I didn't even know. I had no clue.
I didn't know either. So when I was cast as the lead in it was my senior year there. I was the lead in the winter play. We did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And so I was apparently expected to host the party, but I had no idea.
Right.
And so people are asking me, it's like, so when's it happening? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, somebody else can do it. And apparently that was like a big thing that I didn't want to do it.
Oh, gotcha.
I ended up doing it because I felt pressured to do it. And so I had like 3 people show up. Our mutual friend Blake included.
I loved how, especially when, year after year or whatever, you're in the theater class, that nobody mentioned it. Like, I think that's pretty funny to me. I just like, because it's like, I feel like at that point, it's like, when people get casted in, so your main guy gets casted in whatever play, you would think you would let them know ahead of time, right? Like,
I guess.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. I also wanted to mention, like, as far as the parties go, like, I think theater kids have this stigma. Actually, I know that theater kids have like a stigma. So, but it really was all about the community, like just the friendships there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were so many people that really weren't into like the medium the way that you and I were, but they were there because of the people. You know?
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about theater in general is that, it's all about, just that community stuff. Like, that's the thing. Whenever I see people talking about pursuing a career in acting or, you know, filmmaking in general, I'm just like, a part of me is like, you know, if someone were to ask me, and look, I'm no expert, as far as college goes, it's like, you know, it was never for me, and I knew that from the very beginning, but I always said, you know, specifically with that field, I always said, you know, it doesn't really matter if you get a degree in filmmaking or acting. It's all about just the community and, you know, mainly building your resume up. Like, that's all that really matters. Like, you don't need to spend that much money on filmmaking because it's like, but I would totally say do it just because, you know, you're going to meet more people and you're going to meet some people who think like you and want to pursue this passion and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And, yeah. Like, look, thinking back on it, like my theater degree itself, it really was just kind of a networking aspect. Like, I certainly got a lot out of it. Like, don't get me wrong there. It was definitely worth doing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, personally, I had to do it in order to go, because for my master's degree, which I got last year.
Right.
So that had its own payoff. But, right. It all came down to the people that were involved. And that's the same for any group of people, whatever your interests are.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. I don't know where am I going with that.
Yeah, going into screenwriting now, I know you love telling about this story. So, God, I think it was still 9th grade because, again, I don't think 10th grade we didn't have the same class together. I don't think we did. I cannot remember for the life of me. But I don't think so. I don't think so.
We did.
9th grade, maybe it was 10th grade because 10th grade was very much all surrounded on acting or whatever. But then again,
the class was called acting. Yeah.
What I'm about to talk about involves screenwriting, and I can't remember if we learned that in the introduction to theater.
If you're going where I think you're going, we had that playwriting. I guess the correct term to use here would be playwriting. Mm-hmm. But we had that festival at the end of 9th grade.
Okay.
If that's where you're going.
Okay, so yes. So the story goes, there was an assignment we were going to do that, you know, we had to do, which was basically make up a script that would later be turned into a play, which is why I guess that's where you get the term playwright. So, and what was going to happen was, as I said, you know, everybody in, you know, that class would write a script based off the theme, and the theme was fairy tales after the fairy tale. Like, that was it. And
it was if I maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was mashed up fairy tales. Like, you had to have two that you combine, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I remember specifically, I really do believe it was, you know, what happens after the fairy tale. You know, what happens after said, you know, Beauty and the Beast or
Gotcha. Okay.
whatever. And because, I mean, really, when we look at what we're about to get into is like,
well, you know, yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, and so I remember, you know, writing it, and our teacher was going to pick 4 of the scripts that we as the class voted for, and you basically got to be one of them. Now, for me, I was not really putting in any thought into it because I'm like, I'm not really the biggest fairy tale person out there because it's like I don't know exactly what the hell I'm doing, and luckily I got a good grade out of it. But so Jonathan here, not only did his win, but he would later on in life go back to that script and actually make it into a play for, I believe, your community theater?
Right, yeah.
So
I can take over from here if you like.
yeah, so Jonathan, tell them about what your script was and how that went from a high school playwright to something that was going to be, basically a play for your local community theater.
Well, you've embellished it a little bit, so this might be a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to write our 10-minute script. So
that's what
the
it
way
was.
Scripts work is like 1 page is 1 minute. So it started as a 10-page script that we performed for the school because mine was picked for like the festival of 10-minute plays or whatever. And it's a mashup between Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz. And I thought it was interesting that you pointed out that it was supposed to be like after the fairy tale, because mine is definitely before the fairy tale. Huh. So maybe I just did the assignment wrong, but it kind of worked out. But it's about how the Mad Hatter like came into being, I guess.
Mm.
And do you remember what role you had when we did it for the school?
Yes, oh God, wait a minute. I
have two in my head.
I have one. I remember specifically one of them being, because I don't know if it was because of the fact that the guy that was originally supposed to play it, he didn't show up. But I remember specifically.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Man,
I think my role, my big role of all that whole thing, goes back to, everybody looking for me for guidance. Specifically with this project, I was basically the director for your script. And what had happened was...
you weren't a character in it, you were directing it.
I was not only was I the director, I was also a character because of the fact that luckily one of the people that we were working with literally told us that, hey, I'm probably not going to show up to this. Like, even though it was for a grade as well. And so what had happened was, and I remember it too, when yours got picked, and I don't know who did the casting or what. I think the teacher might have done the casting for it.
No, I definitely did the casting for it.
Okay, so you did the casting, and then everybody had to basically pick who was going to be the director. And of course, everybody looked towards me, and I was like... So the way I remember going down is because the writer was not allowed to be the director. So the writer and the teacher had to like appoint a director. Right.
And I remember going with you, and through the rehearsal process, maybe I was, I think I might have gotten a little too involved. I don't remember how you...
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny because I remember when I got voted for it or whatever, I remember... I specifically asked these people that voted for me, and I think one of them said, you just look like a director, and I'm like, I'll take it, because, I mean, again, at the time, I was making YouTube videos for shits and giggles, and I remember specifically, I remember doing a YouTube video, and I had one of our good friends in my video or whatever, and everybody's like, you got him or whatever, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, he wasn't that far away from me, so, but yeah, I do remember that the whole process of it and actually having to download said sound effects or whatever, and it was just like, yeah, this seems stressful to me. Like, thank God I'm just directing this, but I do remember you being very specific about how you wanted things. Like, I remember having to play the White Rabbit or whatever because. Were you the White Rabbit or were you the March Hare? No, I was really because I think I was the White Rabbit because I remember you specifically saying you got to have a lisp or whatever.
They both had lisps. That's
okay. So it was either one of them, and
you were a rabbit.
Yeah, and I remember being like, and at the time, your personality at that time was very energetic. For like, I'll admit it, there were times where I couldn't stand your energy at times because I was like, okay, he was like very like optimistic and whatnot, and it was very putting off. And so when you said you got to have a list. But I was like, this really, I got to have a list. But then I'm like, you know what? Screw it. We'll just do it. And it was also fun because of the fact that I remember too that we also had to give some sort of basically, what's it called? This like opening before the play ever started. And I had to mention you as the writer and me as the director, and I had to give some sort of speech. And yeah, it was fun. I mean, I will say, there was one thing I didn't like about theater was the blinding lights, like, because that would really.
Okay.
I mean, it was helpful at times because it's like I can't see the audience, but at the same time, it's like I can't see jack shit in general because it's so I can't see anything. But yeah, and from what I can remember, I didn't really. The list was hard. The list was really hard, and I couldn't get out my words or whatever. And I remember just being it all done. I was like, "Thank God it's over."
So, for those listening, yeah, the White Rabbit, I'll explain in a little bit like why I still know this, but like that character, I made him having like a SH sound at the end of like almost every word, and it's definitely tiring for people that play that character.
Definitely. So, can you talk about how turning that 10-minute play for your local community theater?
Yeah.
Like, where did that all start?
So, I was at a summer camp with the community theater that wasn't too far from our high school. It was actually a mutual friend of ours who always invited me every year to this camp, and I knew the person who ran it pretty well. So the summer after 9th grade, I just kind of brought up, hey, I wrote a script and like we did it at my school. Would you want to see it? Because at that point, like this person is, I really respect this person. They're doing what they like. They're doing what they love. So I brought them the script during the summer camp. And it was only 10 pages. And she said that she really liked it and that they do a kids series at the theater where they just kind of do shorter stuff that's aimed for kids. And they told me that if I could make the play longer, like significantly longer, over just a couple of days, that I could direct it at that theater as part of their season. And like it would be a paying job and all sorts of stuff. And so that's kind of how it happened. It turned from a 10-page play to a 28-page play in the course of 2 days.
Wow. So
yeah,
what new additions did you add to it?
Oh gosh, I don't remember a whole lot of what I added. I haven't looked at the original version in years because I just keep that. I just have the second version. Okay. But I'll go ahead and say like the second version that I did. So we ended up performing it. I directed it at the theater. I had a lot of people I knew in it. People who went to our high school, like that were in classes with us. They came to be in it.
Oh.
So yeah, but that happened in February of, that would have been 2014. Yeah, February 2014 is when that happened.
So 2 years or 3 years after the first draft, basically.
No, it was the next year.
Oh, was it? Oh, we did that in 2013. Wow. Crazy. So as far as high school theater goes, what would you... 'cause I feel like I know one of these answers because it's probably mine as well. So as far as high school theater goes, what was the assignment you loved the most and the one assignment you hated the most?
That's a good question because there were so many. I mean, of course, that script writing one is going to stand out forever for me because that changed me. Like that made me want to go and that was one of the defining factors for going and majoring in theater and taking script writing classes in college. But let's see, if I did choose something else, favorite assignment,
or just anything in general. Like, what was your favorite thing about theater, whether it was the plays or the assignments?
I guess. Well, okay. So one thing I've always really appreciated, and we talked about it last time, and that's just character development and like knowing your character inside and out. One thing I remember specifically is when I was the student director senior year of high school. I got picked to direct a show, like a big show, and just diving in and like doing the character work for that before I casted, that was so much fun. Like going in and finding out what all these fake people, essentially, what their likes are, what they don't like, what makes them angry, and then seeing what the actors do with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's always my favorite part of the whole like theater process.
Okay. So what would you say is the opposite of that? Like, what would you say is the worst thing about the theater experience, whether it was assignment or a play you weren't into or whatever?
Set design. Easy. Set design.
Set design. So that was...
I can't do it to save my life.
Okay, so it was something that you had to... Like, that was one of the things to learn in, what was it, senior year for advanced...
Well, so... the way that it was set up is that sophomore year you could choose to go the acting path or the stagecraft class, which is like building sets and knowing lights and makeup and costumes. And so you had to choose which path you wanted to take. So no matter what you do, when you get into the advanced classes later, you are really good at one skill, but know absolutely nothing about everything else.
Gotcha.
And so I remember an assignment. It was either junior or senior year, and we were working on a show, and I got put in like the tech stuff because I wasn't in it, and I had no clue what I was doing, and it was evident. And I just like, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Okay. I thought I knew the answer to what assignment you didn't like overall in your high school theater experiment.
Wait, what were you thinking?
Okay, so what I, of the 2 years of theater high school, because for those that don't know, junior and my senior year of high school, I was homeschooled. The dark times, as I like to call it. I believe it was for acting. And there was an assignment we had to do. And it was like the absolute fucking worst assignment ever. And I think
I probably shunned this out of my mind. I'm so curious as to what you're going to say.
Yeah, because I think everybody can agree that this was probably the worst assignment ever. And apparently this was like well known that our teacher would do this for, this assignment. It was the Wax Museum.
You didn't like that?
I hated it so goddamn much because people did not know their fucking boundaries. Like, and just being touched or whatever, and then you got to give your monologue and act like they're not there was super difficult. And it was just like, it was terrible. I didn't like it at all.
That's one of my highlights from high school. I love doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I would have never picked that. I thought maybe you were going to pick character prom. If you remember that at all.
I don't remember character prom. Was that for...
That was for acting class.
I don't remember that.
We were all assigned like a role to be at a party or something. And like we just used the theater space to like have a fake prom, but like some people had missions they had to do. It was kind of like a murder mystery thing.
Oh, dude, now I remember this. Oh my god. I vaguely remember this now. Like, because I remember wearing some sort of like, tux or whatever, like some sort of tux jacket or whatever, and Yeah. That wasn't as bad as, the Wax Museum, personally,
If
for
you
me.
say so. I didn't like Character Prom because I got cast as, like, the loner who just goes away from everybody else. And I just felt like I had been singled out because I was already that person, in a way.
Right.
I was like, way to go, teacher.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for emphasizing my insecurities.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so go ahead and explain what this Wax Museum was all about.
So, from what I remember, is basically you basically had to I think you were given a role of a significant person in history or whatever, and you had to do some research, and I believe you had to make your own monologue. And what had happened was, so, after it was all said and done, you get your monologue, you have the character, person you're portraying or whatever. So what happened was, the assignment involved, you would go into the, what's it called? The main...
Auditorium?
The auditorium. And what had happened was, people who were, other classes, like other people from other classes would come to the auditorium, and you have to stand still, and unless somebody touches you or whatever, or not touch you, but more of
there's just, everyone had a button in front of them.
Either you were pointed at or you were touched, and you had to give your monologue like you're some sort of, not in an animatronic way or whatever, but it's basically in that vein or whatever.
It was kind of like Night at the Museum.
Yes.
Basically. We would come to life and give our monologue about who we were and why we were important. For I think it was a 60-second monologue we had to write.
Oh my god, yeah. That's probably what it was. That was horrible for me. Was
it just other high school students? Because I thought it was elementary schoolers who came.
No, it was specifically high school people. Because I remember one of the classmates was somebody was trolling them and just kept literally there was a whole group surrounded by one person, and everybody went at one time and whatnot, and it was just oh my god. Because it's hey, it's you or whatever. It's my best friend, and I'm gonna make his life a living hell now.
Sure. I guess I don't remember actually doing it. I just remember getting ready for it because I really liked the person I had to be.
Right. I think my personal favorite of the 2 years that I did theater was probably the Child's Play. That was great. That was absolutely great. Basically, I think we took a play. We basically, elementary school kids would come to the auditorium and watch us perform some sort of child play or whatever. And man, that was my favorite, because it was just more of hearing the kids and the reaction every time.
Are you talking about whenever we did the winter play, we always had a day performance when the kids would come?
I thought that was an assignment, but you might be right.
I don't remember that specifically.
I specifically remember one of the people that we knew was playing the gingerbread man, and I don't know if our teacher was, somebody had the idea of basically the guy who was playing the gingerbread man basically jump off stage and just do a full run around the auditorium, and the kids were not prepared for it, and they were just laughing their heads off like crazy. And the guy that played the gingerbread man had all that energy or whatever, and it was great. I fucking loved every minute of it, honestly.
I have no memory of this whatsoever.
Oh man, that but yeah, that's my favorite, honestly.
Now, that got me thinking, we were in the winter play our sophomore year together too, right? It's a Wonderful Life?
I think I was a techie. I think no.
For some reason, I thought you were like the taxi driver or something in that show.
I don't think so. No, the only plays that I remember doing, I did A Christmas Carol, and then The Music Man. I was a techie for The Music Man.
Okay.
Because I remember specifically, of course people were like, "Are you going to be the Music Man or whatever?" I'm like, I am not a dance and singing man at all. I'm just going to be a techie. Even though my mom and my sister at the time were going to dance classes or whatever, and my mom always insisted, "You would be a great dancer." And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like when people are looking at me when I dance. It's like I rather, I just don't have. And plus, like learning that choreography, and that's why I couldn't believe, in some bizarre way, that I would ever sign up to do dance class. And I'm so glad they got me out of there as soon as possible, because that was crazy to me. I'm like, I'm the only dude in here, and I'm just surrounded by women, and we're doing stretches, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, I don't need to sit in front of a mirror and do these stretches while all these other women are doing stretches as well. It's like, I don't know how anybody does this. Like, I'm the only guy in here.
To this day, I still have not been in a musical. I've auditioned for like a couple, but I've never been in one.
Yeah, I think because I don't know if you were, for those that don't know theater, a techie is someone who works behind the scenes, basically moving the stage, props and all kinds of stuff, basically setting the stage,
If you've ever been to a play and seen someone wearing all black, they're a techie.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, it's so funny to mention that, at the time I didn't like musicals, even though I went to go see Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway. I'm forgetting it. You mentioned it earlier. Les
Miserables.
Yes, that's it. Even though I went to go see that, and I remember I only went to go see it just for Hugh Jackman, and I had a feeling people were gonna go see it in the theater. But so yeah, I remember specifically. I remember there was I remember 2012 the most. I think of all the things that I remember about theater, it's not really related to theater, but it was just, so it's theater class, and I believe it's May, what's it called? It was a Monday, and it was May of 2012, and it was a Monday, and I remember everybody was talking about that first Avengers movie. So,
May 12th, I believe, is when it was released.
Yeah.
May 12th. Oh.
And, that's what I also learned, that I'm not alone. So, before we get into that nerdy stuff, so you have a degree in teaching.
I do.
So you knew from the very beginning you wanted to be a teacher.
No, actually, no. So my mom is a teacher, and so that was a big part of it. But I, like going through college for my first degree, like I honestly, I had the aspirations, like, hey, let's go. I'm gonna go like write a TV show or something in Atlanta. So that was kind of the thing. But like, the more and more I got closer to like graduating in college, I was like, well, I had a lot of experience with middle schoolers through various stuff I've done, drama camps and other things. And my school offered a program that if you go straight from your bachelor's to your master's, no year off or anything, you can finish it in 1 year instead of 2. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I have my what is it called? My MAT, Masters of Arts in Teaching for Secondary Education.
What was that like? I mean, were you the person that lived on campus and had a dorm and all that fun jazz, or?
Not during my master's, no. But I was in a dorm my freshman and sophomore year of college. I met a great group of people that I'm still in touch with all the time. And we moved into a house together junior year, and then moved to a bigger house senior year, and I just stayed in that big house for my master's.
Nice. What was college like for you?
So I don't know if it comes across, but I am typically a pretty quiet person. And I try to just stick to myself, usually watching something. And so college for me was more of a like I got more out of it socially than anything else, I think. It was really good for me, like developing friendships, because it's not something I'm particularly good at. Apparently, if I'm energetic all the time and interrupting direction. I mean, yeah, it was something that I'll always treasure. Like, there were so many things that I did in college that I would never be able to have done otherwise. Like, this is not film related in any way, but there was one time when we pulled a practical joke at a abandoned mental institution. Like, who else can say that they've done that?
Right. Crazy.
It was crazy. Just having the group of people that I surrounded myself with just made it all the different. Like, if it was just classes, man, I don't know if I could have done it. But it was just a good time socially. And then moving into my master's, that was its own thing by itself, because we had a cohort. So it was like a group of like 15 people who were all doing it with me at the same time. And so we got to know each other really well. And some of my best friends came out of that.
Nice. And it sounds like you're definitely happy at what you're doing, basically.
I have, the school I'm teaching at is one of the most unique schools like I've ever been heard of, because I teach specifically at an arts school. So I teach a theater class, and a lot of my normal teaching like involves monologues or reading plays and stuff. And I think I don't know if my principal will ever listen to this, but I think that's one of the reasons I was hired, is because I have that theater background.
Okay. Well,
so, principal, if you ever listen to this, I'd like to know.
Right.
To hire me.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's. We know a little bit more of your background. Let's dive into movie conversation. Even though I don't think we've ever, we were basically on that path. But so your love of movies. When did it become more of sort of what's the word? I mean,
profile.
Basically, yeah. I guess that would be the word. When did that come into play? Because growing up, we've always been exposed to movies, and it's not until we start to really deep dive and really appreciate movies for what they are, and and sometimes we generally get. We love a movie, we go beyond just to say that, we like a movie. No, whereas with us, it's not only do we like this movie, but here's why we like this movie, or why we don't like this movie for said reasons. When did
and then there's the whole other aspect of you can identify why you didn't like it because of a specific person.
Yeah, exactly. So when did that come into play?
That's a good question. The story I tell most people is how I got into the Marvel movies, because that's probably where it all stems from.
Right.
And that would be because of my grandfather, who is a big Marvel Comics junkie, and he had a Hulk figure in his car. I don't remember, a little figurine above his dash. I remember asking him who that was. It was it was one of two things. I either asked him who it was, or I asked him why the Green Giant on the green bean cans is so angry. It was one of those two questions.
Right.
And so he got to explain to me who the Hulk is, and that led into me exploring the Marvel stuff, and then really being excited about the movies. And that's how that all got started.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else really was probably because of my mom. My mom's like super into like old vintage stuff, like Turner Classic Movies type thing.
Right.
But yeah, I can't really pinpoint a specific time. I remember watching my first Oscars, and that was really cool.
What year did you watch the Oscars?
I believe it was the year that Birdman won. That was the first one I actually paid attention to.
Okay.
2015?
I think it was, something around there. So, talking about the comic book genre, were you exposed to what we refer to as the Golden Age with, that first X-Men movie, and were you there to digest all of that and then leading up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it today, or was your first introduction to that the comic book genre as far as the movies goes, was that, did it start with the MCU?
No, actually, yeah, that's a good question. I wasn't there for the X-Men. And I'm just really not a big X-Men person, but the first thing was probably the 2002 Spider-Man. Now, like, I didn't see it in theaters or anything because I would have been 5, but like, I remember watching that on DVD, and that was probably my first exposure.
Okay, alrighty. So, love of movies. Do you have a favorite movie?
Oh yeah, I got a top 3 for you.
Oh, do you? Okay, hit me.
Yeah. So I'll go backwards. Number 3, it's a tie for me between The Shawshank Redemption and a movie called Oscar that no one's ever heard of. This movie came out in 91, and it stars Sylvester Stallone as a gangster, but it's a comedy.
Oh God, what have I think I've heard of this before.
It also has Tim Curry and Marissa Tomei in it.
Oh my God.
And all these other people. They're like, oh, I know who that is. But like, I just didn't know they had a name. What's Martin Barber might be his name.
Right.
Vincent Spano is in it. Kirk Douglas is in it.
Oh.
But it's this, oh gosh, it's a bad movie, but I love it. I've seen it countless times.
That's probably why no one's ever heard of it.
It's directed by John Landis.
The great John Landis. Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. Number 2. This is probably never on anyone's radar, but for me, it's The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, dude. Oh, man. Good pull. Excellent movie.
I saw that in high school, and like it really helped that I had a huge crush on Emma Watson at the time. But it really spoke to me, not personally, but just emotionally. I know people who I've shown that movie to who have been affected by it personally, and that's just a great, like, when the right person watches that movie, it's such a cool thing.
Right.
And then number 1, 1975 classic Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, you can never go wrong with Monty Python.
I'm looking at my copy of the screenplay right now.
Oh, really? You have a copy of it?
I got that for my birthday one year.
That's amazing. What an interesting list, I must say.
So yeah, it's not particularly curated in any fashion. It's just, if you ask me what to watch, those are probably the first 4 things I would throw out.
Nice. Now, is there a movie that you think is probably that you don't like, you hate it, you'll never understand why people like it, and are just like, You just
Oh.
hate it.
Yes, and I'm gonna get so much hate for this. But it's your podcast, and so whatever. If I despise Blade Runner.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't stand that movie.
Oh, wow. Was not expecting that.
Right?
Um,
One of my best friends, when they learned that about me, they had to question everything they knew.
I mean, yeah, because,
If I remember, because at some point on Instagram, I did like a 30-day challenge where I posted the name of a movie.
yes.
And I remember you responding when I said that that's one of my least favorite movies.
Right, because, it's just like, it's so shocking, but at the same time, when that movie was initially released, nobody liked it, It became a cult favorite, like, a couple years later, And so, I've told this story, but, when Blade Runner 2049 was coming out, I went back, because I don't think I ever watched Blade Runner, and I heard there were so many cuts or whatever, and so I decided to give the final cut, like, my first go-around, and I really enjoyed it. And I remember texting my dad, it's like, are you going to watch the first Blade Runner? He's like, yeah, I'm going to watch it, and then, he texted me back saying, Guy, I totally forgot how fucking boring this movie is. Like, and, wow, like, you actually hate Blade Runner. Okay. Wow.
Okay, so let me justify myself a little bit.
Okay.
So my dad loves that movie. And when it was a few years ago when he finally decided that my brother and I were old enough to watch it.
All right.
And I don't know which cut he has.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched it, and I'm just sitting there like, and just kind of like what you just said. Like I found it very boring.
Right.
I found it, and I understand that there's a lot of like symbolism and messaging and psychological stuff going on.
Right.
But that's just not what I expected, I guess, from a movie called Blade Runner.
Right.
And I know like the whole story behind how it got the name, which is kind of funny. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but
yeah.
But yeah, so I've only seen it the one time.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of what I base it off of.
Alrighty. So
it sounds like I just need to give it another shot.
Yeah, so you think it's the worst movie ever made, basically.
I didn't say that.
I mean, it's, okay, so if you had to pick a movie that's like, you think it's the worst movie of all time.
Well, I walked out of 2 movies.
Oh. So there is a movie that you find that you hate more than Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like using the word hate, but like, because somebody likes it. It's for somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
and
So I know. So the last time I was on, I talked a little bit about like how I'm kind of like a Disney aficionado. Like that's my specialty. Kids films, animation, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always make an effort to see the new whatever's the big kids film is.
Right.
So the first one I didn't walk out of this one actually. I fell asleep. That was Alpha and Omega. I don't know if you've heard of this, but
I haven't.
It's basically High School Musical, but if there were wolves instead.
Oh Lord.
And there's 5 of them.
Oh Lord.
But my youngest brother really wanted to go see it, so we did. And by the time they got to Howling at the Moon in a very romantic fashion, that's when I was out. I was like, nope.
Man.
But like more seriously though, that I actually walked out of Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh God, I can't even imagine what that was like.
Oh gosh, it's garbage. There's a reason no one talks about it anymore.
I remember when that movie was coming out, I had totally forgot that was based off of a book. Because it's just, I don't know. Some things are just not meant to be adapted on the big screen or small screen.
Sure, yeah.
And, yeah. Alrighty. Huh.
I'm trying to think of more of a mainstream one. Like, one that comes to mind, I hated it at first, but then I really liked it my second time. And that would be The Greatest Showman.
Oh, wow.
I was pretty upset with it after my first watch.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it
Just
about?
because I really hoped it would be more historically accurate.
Oh, okay. That I can see.
A painting of how this guy, because, I mean, realistically, P.T. Barnum was a terrible person.
Yeah.
And they didn't touch that at all.
No.
But once I learned to, like, ignore the storyline, which is not in my nature, and focus on the music, that's when I really appreciated it.
Right. I gotcha. So, you're a Disney person, obviously. Is there a favorite Disney movie that you love? Like,
I always have trouble giving a favorite. So I don't know if you've if you keep up with that film Instagram that I do like every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
But I was doing last July, I started my Disney challenge to watch every animated Disney film ever made before the end of 2020. I added a few extra in that like were hybrid live action, so my total came out to 76 movies to watch. Although there's only 59 like canon. And I got up to 74, I think. Wow. Yeah, I watched 74 movies. So I don't know if I could tell you what my favorite one was, but I could tell you what my least favorite were for sure.
And what's that?
Everyone hates on the Black Cauldron, and everyone calls it the worst. It wasn't great. I don't know if I would watch it again, but easily the worst movie was Home on the Range.
Huh.
This is a movie that came out in like 2003 or 4. It's about 3 cows trying to save a ranch, and the villain is a hypnotist yodeling cowboy.
Oh my god.
It was so bizarre.
Well, they can't all be winners.
And then, of course, there's like the ones from like the 1940s, which are just super trippy.
Right.
But
Yeah.
those are just fun.
Yeah. So, speaking of, staying on topic of Disney, of course. So, do you, how big of a fan would you say you are of the comic book genre when it comes to the movies and TV shows in general?
Like the genre as a whole?
Yeah, like how far are you willing to go for it?
I don't read comics.
Well, we're not talking about the comics.
Like, I don't read the comics.
I'm not talking about the comics. I want to strictly stay on the movie side and TV show. Like,
yeah.
Do you try to absorb as much whenever they put out something new, or
on the Marvel side? Yeah, I've seen everything they've ever done.
Okay, but you do both the big two, Marvel and DC.
Yeah, I have in DC. There's like a select few. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, or Aquaman.
So you basically pick and choose, basically.
Yeah, I pick and choose, and then I end up, if I can stream it, I watch it later, or if I pick it up at a Redbox.
Okay. Is that just because of marketing wise or whatever?
No, not necessarily. For DC, it just goes purely off interest level.
Gotcha.
I know that Aquaman is worth watching. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but now I'd like to.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun. That's for sure. I'll tell you that much.
Because I saw Wonder Woman 84 like in theaters opening weekend. Vastly disappointed. of course.
Okay, hold on. Can we just talk about Wonder Woman 1984 for a second?
Sure, why not? on our Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode.
Yeah, you were disappointed by it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Dude, you and me both.
Like, I mean, I was just cracking jokes with my brother the whole time.
Can we just, like, isn't it so bizarre that this movie is directed by the same woman that gave us the incredible first Wonder Woman movie?
I don't know what went wrong. I have literally no clue.
Dude, because I remember watching it the first time with my family or whatever, and I remember when it ended, I was like, God, that was long. And,
yeah.
And it's like, I have to say this all the time, but it's like, I don't mind slow movies, but when you can't keep me engaged, I'm not going to really care for it. You know, like like how I was just talking about, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's 4 hours, and I enjoyed it. And while I feel it didn't need to be 4 hours, it didn't feel like 4 hours. But
yeah, same with Endgame.
Exactly. And so, yeah, Wonder Woman 1984. I remember, rewatching it again because I remember listening to podcasts about people talking about it, of course, and I'm like, maybe I should give it a second try. And I'm like, yeah, this movie is really weird. Like, I don't know if they intended it to be basically a homage to the classic campy Superman movies or whatever, or the campiness of any campy, weird superhero movie back in the day. Because, looking at that first Wonder Woman, you could totally tell it was very much influenced by Richard Donner's first Superman movie. And yeah, 1984 Wonder Woman. There are no words to describe how much I was really baffled by this movie.
What comes to mind is it did not help at all. Like how they treated I don't even know his character's name, but Chris Pine's character,
Steve Trevor.
Yes, sure, yeah. This whole parasite body stubble switch thing. I don't get it. Yeah, oh man, okay. But I remember what really threw me off is the opening sequence where she's in Themyscira and doing this gauntlet type thing, and at the end it's somebody's tells her it's you don't cheat or something like that.
Right.
It's okay, that's our mantra. That's what we're going with.
That's the thing.
Never comes into play.
No.
Ever.
No. And that's why I'm just maybe you should have just gotten rid of that whole thing, because
could have gotten rid of that. You could have gotten rid of Kristen Wiig. That would have been fine. I don't really like her as it is, and she didn't help. The fact that people were saying that Pedro Pascal was the best part, is worrisome because I thought he was horrible in it too.
I'll admit I'm one of those people because I'm just you know what? For what it is, I love that Pedro Pascal is straight up full on villain. He flips on a dime and it's fucking awesome and I loved every minute of it. But yeah, I think the best part about the whole movie is hearing that A Beautiful Lie by Hans Zimmer that is from Batman v Superman playing at the end or whatever. And
oh, really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, but yeah, there are so many logical problems with it that make no sense and doesn't really help the movie at all. So you're gonna tell me that everybody unwished for their wish. Get the fuck out of here.
That's your resolution,
right?
I can think of 5 people I know right now that would not unwish.
Right.
For the wish.
Because it's okay, imagine somebody wishing for someone to their loved ones come back from the dead. Ain't no way. Fuck no. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
And plus,
I wish my terminal illness was gone.
Right, exactly. And it's okay, also, if everybody unwishes their wish, especially Pedro Pascal's character, where's the Rock? Like, got a problem, Captain? Where's the Rock?
Yeah. That's just one thing. The whole thing with his son made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I could harp on this movie for I don't even know how long.
Me too. I mean, I was just like, I was so disappointed. I'm like, Patty Jenkins did this movie? Like, no way. Like, I don't want to call it. I don't want to say it was a very much a Zack Snyder kind of situation where I feel with Batman v Superman, he was given way too much creative control on Batman v Superman. And that's kind of how I feel with Wonder Woman. It's like, she was given way too much creative control. It's like, there's like, look, because even if you look at something like Endgame, you know, there's logical problems, but the movie is entertaining.
I thought of another DC movie that fits that description, but let's finish this one first.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And, you know, look, you know, everybody has a bad day at the office. Like, and the fact that it really, like, okay, so it was announced, like, the day after 1984 came out. She was given the green light to do Wonder Woman 3.
Yes.
And,
that was, oh my gosh.
And it's like, okay, you know what? Fine. You had a bad day at the office. Fine. Whatever. I'm willing to give you another chance because I really, really like that first Wonder Woman. I hope you learn from the mistakes from this one. But yeah, I'll take it. And you know what really hurts the most? You know, seeing Wonder Woman in Zack Snyder's Justice League, some fans are just saying, give Zack Snyder a Wonder Woman movie. And I'm like, you really don't want that. Like, it's bad enough, you know, I would say the average person does not like Zack Snyder's iteration on the DC characters. Except for Wonder Woman, maybe. And, well, they're not a fan of what he did with Superman and Batman, but yeah. But anyways, so you swing both ways when it comes to DC and Marvel. So, of course, I gotta ask.
Well, I was gonna say, before we move on to that, like, so I guess the best way to describe my relationship with DC is that I have not had a great experiences with anything in the DCEU, but
okay.
Like outside of that, like the Nolan trilogy, I have a soft spot for Green Lantern personally.
Oh,
I know. I kind of like it. But,
God.
But yeah, like anything outside of the DCEU, I really enjoy.
You know,
like I have the Nolan trilogy on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny because I remember when Green Lantern came out, and after that movie, I was stupidly obsessed with Green Lantern, and I had to have everything Green Lantern-esque. And
I remember you having a Green Lantern shirt, yeah.
And I had a bag, I had a wristband, I had the ring, I might have even had shoes or whatever. I had a jacket and everything. And you got to realize because here's how I go for, like, my experience with the well, I won't get into it, but the basic gist is, at the time, I was not like a big comic book reader. I was more of just into the movies or whatever. So, and after reading some Green Lantern comics, when I did get into the comics, rewatching that movie, I'm like, you guys had it, but at the same time, you don't have it. Like, and I will always defend Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. I'm like, he was not the problem. He was the last person that was like, what was wrong with that movie? There were so many other things I can point out what was wrong with that movie. But yeah. So we'll just get this out of the way. Out of all of the Marvel movies that you've seen, what is your favorite and your least favorite?
Okay, so favorite, I'm always switching between Guardians of the Galaxy, which, like, I'm Star-Lord for Halloween almost every year. I'm not very creative when it comes to that, but and my phone case is literally the Awesome Mix Volume 1.
Nice.
But it's always between that and Ant-Man, which I know Ant-Man's not a super popular one, but I really love the first one. I've seen that probably more than any of the Marvel movies, actually.
Refreshing.
And then I feel like least favorite is kind of everyone knows what the worst one is, and it's Thor: The Dark World.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I rewatched that one last year at some point, and it has its moments. But I don't know. I think I'm just so glad that they recognized that franchise wasn't going somewhere, and so they bring in the craziest man alive, Taika Waititi, to do it.
Yeah, I love Taika Waititi, especially because, of course, my introduction to Taika Waititi was Thor Ragnarok, and then
most people were
seeing what he did with Jojo Rabbit. I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around it, specifically with, it's all poking. It's a satire, and I love it for it. But then it has those moments where it's like it's very personal and deep.
Dude,
the shoe scene. Holy shit! That is one movie where, right next to Spider-Man: Homecoming, where it's revealed that Michael Keaton's Vulture, Adrian Toomes,
he's the father.
He's the father. Not since that have I been just so like grab my seat and take a big gasp. Like, wow.
Yeah, there's only a handful of moments I can think of where I've actually gasped, like in the theater, like that being one, the Homecoming one, and like Cap picking up the hammer.
Oh yeah,
that's what comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, Thor: The Dark World. Yeah,
I really didn't like Iron Man 2 for a super long time as well, but revisiting that one, I kind of like it. Fine, like it's not great, right. But there's a lot more to it than I remembered.
Yeah,
personally. I mean, Mickey Rourke was not the best part.
God, yeah,
But I mean, just Sam Rockwell in that movie. Like, I had no idea that Sam Rockwell was in that movie, and he's like in my top 10 favorite actors.
Right. Yeah. So swinging back over to DC, what would you say is your favorite and your least favorite? And this applies to all of the DC movies that you've seen.
Sure. I guess my favorite would be, I mean, I know it's cliche, but I guess I would say The Dark Knight.
Classic.
Yeah. And then least favorite that I've seen would, well, aside from 80, I wouldn't even put Wonder Woman 84 there, because it is fun to laugh at.
Right.
So, like, I've only seen most of the DC movies once.
Okay.
So, I would put BVS in that spot. Because I've never seen, I know there's like another cut. I've only seen the theatrical cut.
Right.
Apparently there's like an ultimate edition or something.
Yeah, I'm sure whatever you didn't like about Batman v Superman, it's not going to change. Those opinions aren't going to change when you see the ultimate edition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's a better cut. It gives more, we see more of Lois Lane, and we do see, you get to see Clark Kent investigating Batman, investigating this bat creature or whatever, get stuff like that. But yeah, now I'm curious, like, what was, what are the things you like and didn't like about Batman v Superman?
It's been like 5 years since that came out. So like, I'm trying to find the best way to, like, because I know I said like I watch them once, and really the only reason I go and watch them is because I have some sort of familiarity with who the characters are.
Yeah.
But like I don't really follow it very heavily. Because like you were talking about Man of Steel earlier, and like I barely remember what happens in that movie.
Oh man.
I don't think I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I have seen that one twice actually.
Okay.
Because my mom really likes that movie.
Amazing. Yeah. Man of Steel. My history with Man of Steel is great. But yeah,
I've seen the first Superman film with like Christopher Reeve.
Oh.
I've seen that like 4 times.
Oh.
That's probably the most I've ever seen anything.
Look,
from
man,
DC.
that first Richard Donner Superman movie is just great. I got the chance to see it for its 40th anniversary a couple years ago, and I got to see it on the big screen. And man, take away the technical aspect of it, that movie is beautiful.
Wait. Okay. You know, I completely forgot about one. My favorite is Joker. Clearly.
Okay.
I don't know how I forgot about it. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
I've seen that movie at least 3 times.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's one of those movies where I'm like, one time is good for me. I mean, I liked it, and you know, it's one of those movies where when I first heard about it, I was like, the nerd in me very much came out, and I was so against this idea of seeing a Joker origin movie or whatever, and I was fascinated by the trailer because it was like it again. I love when they take, you know, a comic book property and just flip it on its head and make it something that is not very of the norm that you would see in a comic book movie. You know, very grounded, very real, and I was fascinated by it, and I remember being not excited for it at all. And I remember when my friend got tickets for it or whatever, I was like, I'll see it. Why not? I'm willing to give anything a shot. I'm just like, okay, the trailer did intrigue me, so I am kind of looking forward to it on some level. And then I went to go see it, and I was like, God damn, this was really good. This was really great. I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. And, you know, and plus it's also like, you know, okay, because, you know, again, I don't like letting the nerd out in me being like, no, you can't do it like that. Like, it was just one aspect because, you know, for me, it's like, okay, from what I've read, we only see like a day or two before Joker becomes the Joker we all know and love or whatever. Like, we've only seen a snippet or whatever. Yeah. And so, seeing this, I was like, this was great. And, you know, there was an alternate ending that they were initially going to go with. And I was like, I wish they would have done that because you could have justified it with this movie. There was an idea to have the Joker.
You said the thing.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix at the very end of the movie, it's Joaquin Phoenix as Joker. He shoots the Waynes and then walks away, turns back to look at Bruce and shoots him. And I'm like, oh, that would have been fucking brilliant. Because again, I mean, this is clearly a one-and-done movie. This is clearly one and done. Like, I can't see them doing a sequel to this. It's like, I don't really want to see a sequel.
Okay. Huh.
I just thought, you know, for an Elseworld kind of movie, it's like, you know, this is great. Like, I love these types of Elseworld kind of movies. And that's kind of what it is when you look at these comic book movies, because the movies aren't the comics. The comics are the comics, the movies are the movies. It's called an adaptation for a reason. So
I was really hoping that it would turn into like an anthology series of some type.
See,
and like,
yeah,
because there's no way you can't agree with me here. The Riddler would be a perfect villain to do that treatment with.
You know, I got someone better. I got a character better than the Riddler, and I've always said, you know, because there's been some whispers that Warner Brothers wants to do a Lex Luthor treatment and whatnot, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but if you really want to, you know, tug on the heartstrings, do Victor Freeze. I mean, what's more tragic than a guy saving his dying wife from illness? Like,
and you know what? Let's bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger while we're at it.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I grew up watching Batman and Robin.
See, I get it. At least for 1997, I understand. You know, I think it was 4 years prior where we got the first origin of Victor Freeze, because Mr. Freeze never had an origin story until Batman the Animated Series happened. And I'm just like, I would love to see Mr. Freeze done right. I mean, they sort of did it right with Gotham, the TV show, until until they just said, we're going to kill off Nora Freeze. And I'm like, but because to me, Victor Freeze is a one-and-done character. Like, you know, he's not really a villain. He's just trying to save his wife, whatever it costs, you know? And at the same time, it's like the connection he has with Batman and that whole aspect. And again, if they wanted to do a Mr. Freeze, Joker-esque style, whatever, you could totally not have Batman in there. Like, you can totally write around.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, but yeah, and I'm generally not the kind of person that likes to do fan castings or whatever. Like, sure, I'll hear a fan cast and be like, yeah, that's good, but I'm not like gonna cry over if it's not that. But I can't help but to, you know, my fan casting for Mr. Freeze, and I know it's not gonna happen, but you really want me to? My ideal Mr. Freeze is Giancarlo Esposito. I
can see it.
I can't see it because, especially after watching him in Breaking Bad, it's just like he's just got that presence to him, and it's just like, God, he would make an excellent Mr. Freeze if given the right script.
I'm thinking about his role in that and in The Boys.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's all I have for this week, honestly. I mean, Jonathan, thank you for joining me on this podcast. I'm glad.
Yeah. Congratulations if you are still listening after these almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm glad that, you know, I got to share, you know, got to introduce you to my small audience or whatever. You know, it was fun talking with you for sure.
No, yeah, for sure. I was really looking forward to this, and I am always happy to come back whenever you want.
Awesome. I'll definitely have to keep in touch with you. But yeah, so yeah, that's Spoil Your Appetite for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Tristan.
And I'm Jonathan.
And you've just been spoiled.